Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, really thrilled to have LP with us here in the studios. Along with her today is Tim Fagan, who's playing the 12-string guitar, and LP's going to play some ukulele, it looks like, a Martin ukulele. I have to say, LP, I've never seen one of those before.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are. I'm actually an ambassador for Martin ukuleles, and they are. I think they're one of the early American companies that got on the ukulele train. I think because you find it like if you go into an old or a guitar store, you'll see a lot of old ones from like the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and they stopped making them for I think like 25 years,
Oh, wow.
but then they started again.
Well, as ambassador, what are your duties?
Well, um,
Promote the
promote the
ukulele?
ukulele. I'm the first, like the ambassador program. I don't know how many years old it is, but it's like a few, a couple to a few. But it's I'm their first uke one and their first female, whatever. But it's
First
just
female ever for the as an ambassador for Martin
yeah,
Guitars, and
yeah.
wow.
But and it's I got to design the ukulele with them, and I just it's like you just promote it all the time
Yeah.
and be the face of it. And I'm doing a new campaign called Save the Elephants, which is really cool because Martin hasn't for many years used any ivory in any of their guitars or ukuleles.
That's good to
So
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Did you enjoy the designing process of that?
It was cool. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there at the thing, but I just like, the size, the color, the shape of the neck, the tuning pegs, and they put like a lightning bolt in there for me, and I wanted to keep it very simple. I'm not, I don't like use koa or anything like that. I'm just like kind of more. It looks more like an old guitar kind of vibe.
Why lightning bolt?
I have a lightning bolt on my tattooed on my arm and TCB in a flash, the
Okay.
old Elvis symbol.
That's cool. Well, we have LP with us here on WFPK. Her new release is called Forever for Now on Warner Brothers Records. You worked with a lot of great songwriters on this album, I noticed.
hmm
But you're a great songwriter in your own right, for sure.
I like
You,
the collaboration process.
yeah, I
I'm
was
like
wondering
super down
about
with that.
that.
Yeah, it's I was lucky enough to be introduced to it like 2006. I was signed to my first major label deal. I had some indie stuff before then, but I got introduced to that collaborative process then because that's a common occurrence. You get signed to a major and they put you with big songwriters to write your record, because they're proven songwriters. So then I wrote a ton of songs for these records. Like over those 3 years, I wrote like it was two different labels, Island Def Jam and Universal, and I wrote like maybe like 130 something songs in those years. And so it just gave me like I knew I could write the songs. I knew I could write a high volume of songs, and I got a lot of relationships with all those people. So then when I got a publishing deal, which is like a writer deal. I kept writing with all these different people, and so it just became like a part of like the songwriting process for me. Like I would grab like little nuggets of like stuff like chords or ideas, words, melodies, and then bring them to a session, and then we finish it up together. And I enjoy that. Tim actually does it too. We both
Yeah,
do. And it's and we were just in Nashville, and that town is built on that. It's like
definitely.
yeah, and it's I even when I write a song alone, I still feel like I have to run it by someone just because I don't know I don't know if I want to say I don't trust myself, but it's just hard to write in a vacuum for me sometimes.
Well, when they pair you with another songwriter, are they thinking about the possible chemistry of that? Or is it just
Yeah,
like,
they
yeah,
try to, or they
yeah,
don't at all. They just really you can't. I noticed that you cannot really count on chemistry ever because sometimes you think that you're not going to have chemistry with someone and then you totally do.
hmm,
It's interesting. I mean, I think I suspect it's a little like even actual relationships. You just like, oh, I never pictured myself with this kind of person, and then there you are.
right. One of the songwriters on your new album, Forever for Now, is the keyboardist for Florence and the Machine.
Yeah, it's a summer.
Is a
Yeah,
summer, yeah.
summers. I think.
Are you guys friends from?
Yeah, we're like best friends, and she was a best friend of my partner, and we met through that, and we didn't push it. We weren't, it's like one of those things. Like I didn't want to seem like, hey, and we just became friends. And she's amazing. She's a little wizard in the studio. She's just very enthusiastic and makes you feel like you can pretty much do anything. And we just like those kind of people to me are just, oops, sorry, those kind of people are just very fun to be in the studio with, because it's like, it could be pretty, it's a very intimate setting for people who don't know each other. And sometimes it's nice when you're friends, and sometimes it's bad when you're friends, because you go in there and you're just like, meh, nothing. You're like, why are we friends at all?
Well, I definitely want to talk more about this new record. How about we have a song right now?
Sure.
And tell us which one you're going to do right now.
Awesome.
What's the name of this song you're going to do?
Night Like This. This is our single from the record.
All right. LP live on WFPK.
You were the one, you were the only one I was born to know. Beyond the crush of any summer lust, and we dared to go to chain our hearts and tear apart and come together again. A lover's pain forever will remain, and I remember when stars are falling, are we falling too? Dawn is coming, what's this coming to? On a night like this, on a night like this, stars are falling, are we falling too? Do 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 do. We are the ones, we were the lucky ones, and I will take the blame and pay the cost for every lover's cross that heaven knows by name. The sound is touch, I love so much, I played again and again, and in the end I wasn't innocent, but we can still pretend. Stars are falling, are we falling too? Dawn is coming, what's this coming to? On a night like this, on a night like this, stars are falling, are we falling too? If we survive the starving and we're alive by morning, we'll never be the same. I'll never be the same. On a night like this, on a night like this, stars are falling, are we falling too?
Night Like This from LP live on WFPK Radio Louisville. That song is the single off Forever For Now, her brand new album. And I'm going to be singing that all day, I have a feeling. I really like that stripped down version of it. I mean, I like the one on the album too. It's much more produced on the record.
Yeah.
But I really like that too. Have you ever thought about doing like a maybe acoustic companion or
I don't know, maybe.
version or something?
I mean,
Yeah.
like, some people, like, I think are like, like this record is way more produced than the live EP, and and I find, I don't know, I really like how this record is, and I like the pop element to it, and I like seeing the songs as in their full glory. I mean, yeah, I could do a stripped down record. I do stripped down records all the time. I mean, and I think that it's one of those things where people are like, when they hear a full-on version, they're like, "Oh, I love that," but in your voice, I can't hear it. And then when you do a stripped-down version, like, "Oh, I love that," but when you rock out, I mean, I really like it. It's like, it's always one or the other. So
Can't
I think
please
I'll always do
everybody.
both kinds of things, and I like being able to do this kind of thing. I think if it's a good song, it sounds good stripped down too, which is always nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've written a lot of songs that other people have recorded. I just want to name a few of those for some of our audience members that may not be familiar with you. But you've had songs recorded by Backstreet Boys, Rihanna, with a Cheers, Drink to That song, Christina Aguilera, Joe Walsh recently. That one
Yeah.
kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
That was a song, that's like what's so interesting about songwriting is like the power of a song where I had written that 4 years before, maybe 3 years before. It was something I wrote for myself, and I wrote it with Tim Armstrong from Rancid. That's even crazier part of it.
Wow.
Like that's the funny part. Like we wrote that song for me, and then he wound up working with Joe Walsh, and he played it for Joe Walsh, and Joe loved it. And in fact, Joe plays on one of the songs that didn't make my record. He plays on this song called Road to Ruin, and it was pretty. He had called me, because he didn't know. He knew I wrote the song, but he didn't know that. He didn't know that I was the Into the Wild singer. I guess he really liked that song, and then he found out that I was also. And then like he asked somebody that his assistant knew my friend or something like that, and then he called me one time and I had this really funny message from Joe Walsh on my answer machine. Like I was like, wow.
Yeah, that had to be kind of surreal.
That's pretty awesome.
Because you've written so many songs that others have recorded, when you write a song, are you always thinking about how this might sound for somebody else or for yourself?
Well, recently it's been interesting because I kind of found my niche, and I felt like I've kind of know the songs for me as opposed to other people. There's some that I still like are on the border that I could see maybe work. Like, Night Like This, I almost didn't use that song. Shakira bought it.
Wow.
To use. It was before I think she purchased, or they found a bunch of songs that were like this certain kind of song, and then she was going to do a record like that, and then she, I think, swerved at the last minute and did what she's doing now, that other stuff, the more dancey stuff. But yeah, they really wanted it. I remember they were really upset when we took it back, but because it was just like a whoopsie kind of situation. Like my management thought that I didn't want it because I had said I didn't. I was like, I don't have a bridge for it yet, but I didn't. I just was thinking I had to finish it, not that I didn't want it. And it was like somebody else like kind of like pitched it, and then it got picked up, and then they played it for Rob Cavallo, the producer of my record, and he was like, "Nah, I think you have to do this." So. That in that case, it was like I was cool with Shakira doing the song. Honestly, I didn't mind. I thought it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I kept it for sure.
Rob Cavallo, you mentioned, he's the label chief at Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But also produced your record. Of course, he's
Yeah.
produced with tons of people, Green Day and many
Yeah,
others. How was that experience working with
Oh,
him?
it was amazing. I mean, it's like, that's another element. You work with the chairman of a major label, and your record's going to be possibly a little more pop, I think, because they're going to encourage you to like, sell records and do that aspect of yourself, like and since I'm a songwriter anyway, I was just like, yeah, let's go for it, and there's always been a pop element to what I do, but I think like things kind of like there was a landscape to this record that happened. Like certain songs got introduced at certain times and like opened up some rooms in the house of this record. So it was an interesting process. And Rob's like, he's one of the kind of guys, like he's really very knowledgeable about like the actual engineering as of a record as well. Like, he knows how to place mics and do all that stuff. He was a little after the curve of Pro Tools. He knows all that stuff, but he's old school and new school, so it's nice.
Mm-hmm. Where are you from originally, LP?
New York.
New York?
Yeah.
And when did your passion for music begin?
It was, it was a growing process. I didn't really think that I was gonna go for music as a profession. It wasn't really something that was in the like on the menu as far as like my family upbringing. People were lawyers and doctors, and that's what you strived for, basically, to like to be more of a school person. And I don't know. My mom passed away at a young age, and I kind of had an early um, sense of what it means to like live your life to the fullest. And I felt like music was the path that would give me the most enjoyment. And I kind of struggled in the beginning a lot because I didn't know where to go. I had no examples and no place, as a lot of people do, and so there was like many like different, kind of like, oh, that, nope, that. And but it was a learning process, and I really, now I feel like it's served me well.
Did you try to like make it in New York City, or did you go out to LA?
Oh, well, no,
So,
I was doing stuff in New York City, and I got to a certain point. I had some indie deals, and then out of New York City I got my first major label deal, and that's what took me to LA. Cuz like I said, they set you up with writers, and for some reason all these writers were in LA. It just seemed like that was the place where writers go. Like, I think in the mid 2000s it was just like, I don't know if there was a move from that, but it I think it definitely coincided kind of with that. And like since then, it's been just getting more and more of a writer town, because you could have a bigger studio out there in New York. I mean, I was just there this weekend, and I had to record a big song, and I went to this really expensive studio like on Broadway and like Bond or something like that, Germano Studios, and it's like, I don't even know that many studios there that are really like major like that, but I've
mhm.
been to tons of them in LA. It's just like it's just a different world. When I was just doing songwriting, I was making the move from New York to LA, and I found myself in New York. I had about 3 sessions a week, and in LA, I had one every day, 2 a day if I wanted. So that's the difference.
How did you get found in New York? Who was it, or what happened?
I was touring and stuff, and I had a guy that had been trying to sign me for a long time, but he was a dance guy, and he just said, he told me, like, and I was kind of trying to stay away from him because I was like kind of scared of him. I'm like, this guy's trying to make me do something that's weird. And then I was like, and he said, I could get you signed in like 8 months, and I said okay, and he did it in 7. So
Wow.
and it was just like, and it showed me it's a lot of connections. You know what I mean? It's not, not always and not for everybody, but for me it was a series of connections, and he hooked me up with some big songwriters, and then, I got this deal, and then they didn't work out, and then I went back to songwriting, and I thought I was going to be a songwriter, and then people were pressing me to kind of be an artist again, like, you should really try it or whatever, and I was like, okay. But I was kind of reluctant to, because I'd been through like some stuff, and I was just like, songwriting's great.
Yeah.
Artist stuff is scary. But it happened so organically, and Warner Brothers has been so amazing, so it's been really good.
We're talking with LP. Forever for Now is the name of her brand new album, and we've got time for one more song, so
All right.
we'd love to hear another.
All right, this song is called Tokyo Sunrise.
Said a lot of words along the way. I meant them all while we ran. But shards of love get beaten by the waves. And after it was done, I wish I'd saved time. One less spark from the flame, one little more heartbeat away. I think I lost your scent after the rain. I'll find you when our paths cross by the gold mines. Tokyo, I can say, I'll see you again, I'll see you again, I'll see you Love's never gonna wait, it's gonna come around someday. My love is never gonna wait, it's gonna come around someday. I'll see you again. I'll see you again.
Another great song from LP live on WFPK Radio Louisville. That's called Tokyo Sunrise. Appears on the new album Forever for Now. And Tim Fagan playing guitar along with LP. Thank you all so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Laura.
Great to have you. Back to you, Kyle.